hope you're having a good evening. Welcome to another haunted house. If the snow has not given you a chill, the stories from this house most certainly will. This is the home of Crome Patterson Campbell, and the stories from this home are more malevolent than you've heard on the ghost tour so far. This house was built in 1858 for a Thomas B. Croak, who, as soon as he moved in the house, felt very chilled and uneasy and quickly sold the house to a Thomas Patterson. Well, Thomas Patterson moved in, and he was a congressman, a Democratic congressman, who owned the Rocky Mountain News. He often used that newspaper to bolster and advocate his policies to win a seat on the Senate above the Republican Party in 1901. After Patterson passed, he passed the home on to his daughter and his son-in-law, Margaret and Richard Campbell. But Thomas's ghost never left this building. The Campbells said, as well as other people who visited the home, said that they would find the typewriter being used with no one sitting at it. And telephones would ring and no one would be on the other line. Or they would try to use the phone, but all the lines were being used. And they contributed this to Thomas trying to get through an urgent message because he found what was written in the newspaper not newsworthy or not scandalous enough. After they left, after their son left in the 20s, the home became home to the Joe Mann Orchestra and to the KFVR radio station. But the students were complaining that when they would come to play their instruments the next day at school, all the strings would be broken off their instruments would be moved. And the DJs complained that the records they played would fly off the disc or be scratched, or you would just hear the sound of the scratch over the radio. So soon, the building was turned into apartments, 6 units to be more specific. And Dr. Sudan lived in 2 of the 6 units. Dr. Sudan was named the state medical examiner, and the ghost activity seemed to quell when he was there. There was not much ruckus or problems, until, to the dismay of the ghosts, he moved out in 1957 to Boulder, Colorado, which is about 2.5 hours from here. After he left, tenants of the building would complain of cold spots in the building, of being talked to when they were in the room alone by an unseen presence. They would complain of seeing a woman in white come through the home, and young parents of little toddlers would find that their children were so unrestless and so uncontrollable, it seemed like they were possessed. Even one time, sadly, a child was found dead mysteriously, and they couldn't explain it. Well, after the child was found dead, his mother committed suicide. And it was after her suicide that people in the building would hear her crying for her babe late at night. Now, they couldn't find any security guards to watch the building at night because so many scary things had happened that they hired dogs, watchdogs, to watch the building, 2 Doberman Pinschers. But one night, ran out the 2nd floor, bust through the window, and jumped to his death. The other Doberman Pinscher was found beat to death in an empty apartment. Later, when reconstruction started on the building, workers could not deny the place was haunted because their materials always went missing. And they saw a ghostly man walking from the main house to the carriage building out back with toolboxes, but he wasn't part of their crew, and he would appear and disappear randomly. Also, their tools would end up missing, and the weirdest thing was that then they would spend days, sometimes weeks, working on a project, only to come back one morning to finding the project having never been started. Also, there is a ghost who shares the carriage house with the worker out back. And it is a ghost of a young child who was mutilated and tortured here by an insane, tortured soul himself. So much activity goes on in the house in the back. Well, more tenants are saying they see a woman come down the stairs in a lovely white dress, and they hear voices. They are awakened in the middle of the night to a sound of a baby crying or dogs barking. Still, many choose to come from all over to stay in this lovely boutique inn. It's a beautiful inn, and it has many amenities, including ghosts walking through your room when you are relaxing, cold spots in the night. So if you dare, please come spend the night here. Let me know what happens, because all the ghostly activity is only one of the few amenities this lovely, beautiful, historic building has to offer. Now I offer you the chance to take photos. A lot of ghost activities, sometimes a woman standing with a child in the upper windows, and on the stairs there's said to be a lot of ghost activity. I won't stand over there with you, but I wish you luck, and let me know if you spend the night.